welcome to the ISCA 2024 Super Cup Series with the Hooters 250 in Homestead, Miami, Florida. As we enter into the round of 8, for those of you that joined us last week, Patrick Gitter solidified himself a very tasty spot now, and that's one thing he doesn't worry about as we have 2 races remaining, just 2 races for a slew of drivers to try to win themselves into a spot as well. My name is Big Al, and I'm joined into the booth tonight by Joe Las Castro, and we have my main man, Kobe Jordan, down below as the producer. Joe, welcome to the show.
Hey, Al, nice to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, man, I'm excited to have you. This is going to be a great one here because I think you're somewhat of a professional. As we're just rounding up warm-up, we're going to go into qualification. Man, I'm glad to have you on board here. We're going to be talking about a lot of exciting things to include the race as qualifying is just beginning. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I've been doing a little bit of commentary here and there on iRacing for the past about 4 or 5 months or so. You might have heard me pop up. I've done 1 or 2 ISCA races, and I've heard great things about your calling. And so when I got a chance to come back, I said, let's do it. But what else do? I do a bit of professional voice acting here and there. I work on computers all day. So this is my big break away from the computer screen, as I spend a little more time staring at the computer screen, and I do funny voices every once in a while when people pay me to do it, and sometimes just for free.
We're definitely going to try to tap into that a little bit. That'll definitely make this race go by a lot quicker and probably be a lot more exciting than just my old, slow mouth. But anyway, qualifying's begun, and I'm going to tell you, I'm excited about this. I'm excited to have you in the booth, and for those that are watching, we're excited to have you here as we do get into the race tonight. This is the Hooters 250 at Homestead. Our race scheduled for 167 laps. That's broken down into 2 stages. Stage 1 ending at 35, going to 36. Stage 2, 75 to 76. And finally, the race end at 167. They'll have 5 additional sets of tires with the one that's on the card. That'll make 6. Plus, we got a 65-lap fuel window here tonight.
Okay. It looks like it's going to be a race to the end of stage 1 then, and then stage 2, people are going to actually have to start paying attention a little bit to gas.
Well, so what usually happens here is stage 1 is just it, and with this track right here in Miami, this is probably the trickiest mile and a half that we do actually have here on the series or anywhere. This is just not an easy track. Although it looks like you just go out there and run around in a giant circle, it's actually a lot more technical than that. So we're starting to get some qualifying times in right now. Derek Heitman looks like he's going to be on top of the board right now with a 32.868. Getting into our playoff points here. Patrick Gitter, like we said, he won himself in last week. Brandon Pasalacqua. Brandon is definitely going to be in the hot seat tonight. We've been watching him as the last 3 races, and he has not yet come to life, so he's really running out of chances. Want to see what he can actually do. Matt DeCiani, Matt's been running strong. Hopefully he'll be able to go ahead and get himself up. Clayton Hoffman in the 92. What can we say about Clayton? He is just a professional. Then we got Randy Mullins, and that's right, Randy is in the top 5. That's a little shout out for my buddy Brian Britt. Abner Acosta is in 6th, Brian Johnson in 7th, and Tim Wortman Jr. rounds out those 8. Derek Heitman and Kenny Powell actually were on the bubble, and that bubble popped just a little bit ago.
Okay, it looks like the championship's getting down to the wire then here in the series.
Yeah, definitely getting down to the wire. Definitely running out of time for guys to make moves, and there's a lot of guys that actually need to make those moves, and you're running out of tracks as well, because these tracks, they're not all easy. They're not cookie cutter. Homestead, a very tricky track. Next week we go to Martinsville. That's another track that's really going to require a lot of skill, if you will. But nonetheless, it's not going to stop. Qualifying times are starting to come in now. Looks like Patrick Gitter with the time to beat. He is going to be on the pole as of now with a 32.830. Matt DeCiani coming in strong with a 32.832. Those are some pretty fast times if you just look at the difference between the third fastest guy who's no slouch skating hopping, it'll give you a little bit of an idea.
Yeah, just that much of a gap, but wow, the time between Kidder and DeCiani, I guess that's why they're at the top of the list right now in the championship order. That is very, very close.
Yeah, absolutely.
But with no help.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And these guys are also, they got a strong faith-based team system, as we'll actually see on display here tonight. Looks like qualifying's wrapping up. We're going to go ahead and take a step away, get our national anthem in, and we'll be right back with coverage of tonight's race.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, and the home of the brave.
Driver, start your engine! You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come on, what you waiting for? You gotta get down to Hooters. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
And welcome back to the ISCA Super Cup Series, the Hooters 250 here in sunny Homestead, Miami, and we are gridded to go as these cars are down lined up. Patrick Gitter puts down the fastest time with a 32.830. He's going to be up on the pole. Alongside him is going to be Matt DeCiani with a 32.832. Second row is going to show Clayton Hoffman, who's another playoff driver. These three guys, well, the two of the three guys need to win to get in with Derek Heitman on the outside. The next row is going to show Brandon Pasalacqua. Brandon needs to win to get in with Dylan Banks, another one of our booth buddies, down going to be in sixth. Seventh place, going to show Paul Whitley II. He's going to have Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson, also a playoff driver, is going to be on his outside. Next, we have Paul Hill II, and he is going to be joined by Jordan Sailors, and that is going to be starting in 10th. Row 6 is going to show Greg Carr, and beside him, he's going to have Kendall LeBron. Row 7 shows Abner Acosta, another playoff driver, joined along his side by Tim Wortman Jr., who is also another playoff driver. And then we'll have Kenny Powell and Mark Sanchez in row 8. Row 9 is going to show Alexander Carr and Josh Schaffner. Row 10 is going to show the 54 of Randy Mullins. Alongside of him is Nick King in the 3. Blair Holloman is going to be alongside him with Connor Banks starting in 22nd.
All right, after 22nd, that's Jay Hone, I believe that's how you pronounce that, and Greg Wachinski. Next, it's Dave Fugue Jr. and Chad Sanner. After that, Randy Drumhiller and Jose Medina. Then in the next row, the 29th place, it's Jeffrey Souza and 30th, Chris Severa. Rounding out the order, it's John Binder in 31st with Jason Taylor in 32nd.
Man, boy, star-studded cast here tonight. A lot of people might not know some of these drivers, but it's good to see some guys who we normally don't get a chance to have in our presence. Dave Fuger Jr. is also, he's one of the newer drivers. Chris Severe making a guest appearance here tonight. Jason Taylor's going to join the field. Just want to make sure we give a shout out to some guys that we don't usually see.
Dave Fugue is a name that I see when I call the SSRL series every once in a while. He shows up there, too. Wonderful driver in the trucks. Looking forward to seeing him in a Cup car tonight.
Yeah, man, and I'm going to tell you, boy, do you get the privilege of calling one of the best group of racers that you're probably going to come across in just the iRacing circuit. The one thing that I love about the ISCA is just it's the caliber, the class of the drivers, and the cleanliness of the field. So I think you're definitely going to be in for one here tonight. And we usually do a thing where we do the over-under, and that's what our pick in our guesstimates on how many cautions are going to be overall outside of the stage caution. So we're going to give you that honorary guess and let you go first.
Oh, my goodness. I think that there are going to be, outside of stage cautions, 5 cautions.
Wow, 5. Okay, well, that's very good. Kobe, what do you got for us down low? Oh, Kobe's going to go 6. I think you guys are not putting a lot of faith into these guys. It's kind of making me second guess my answer here.
That's fair.
Well,
that's fair.
I was going to come in way low, but I guess I'm going to go ahead and stick with 4, man, just to stay on the safe side. But with these guys, hopefully we won't have that many. But it just goes to show just how tricky this track is, Joe.
That's really where I'm coming from, Al. Honestly, I'm coming from the way that tires get eaten up at Homestead. I'm coming from the way, like you said, it looks like it could be nearly a perfect oval. It's not. It has uniqueness to it, and you can very easily carry a little bit of extra speed when you're not really realizing it out of 3 and 4. I just think that there's opportunities here for a little bit of knocking. That's all. I just think 5 sounds fair over 167 laps. 5 sounds about right.
Wow, yeah. I never thought about it like that. But we actually have had a couple instances where we've actually ran pretty high on caution. So yeah, I could see that 5 and that 6 actually sparkle a little bit here tonight. But this track, like you said, it's just a tricky 1.5 mile track. There are multi grooves on this thing here tonight, and as we come into the show, it looks like it's going to be 81 degrees in the seats with 97 degrees down on the streets. Winds going to be out of the southeast at 10 miles an hour. Yeah, that wind is definitely going to play a little bit into this, as well as that track temperature. We'll be monitoring that as we go on here tonight, Joe. It looks like that pace car is going to be up and out of the way. Our driver's line, the leaders coming through that Geico restart zone. Hammers down, and we are under the way. Patrick Gitter takes the lead. He's going to show the way into turn 1. We hope these drivers don't overdrive turn 1. That's one of the sticky points, especially on cold tires. Matt DeCion is going to go high. Clayton Hoffman's going to be down low. Now, I'm just wondering exactly what what his strategy is going to be as this thing goes. But if we go further back in the pack, we got almost a 3-wide situation there where Derek Carr was actually in the midst of, looks like the 17 and the 74.
Yeah, I'm seeing a little bit of shuffling going on here. And here comes Paul Hill. He's putting it 3 wide. Woo! Barely able to squeeze. Not able to squeeze, I should say, right in between the 17. And Sailor's ahead of him there. excuse me, that's Paul Whitley ahead of him there. He was almost 3 wide, but now we've got a nice 2x2 going there. But keep your eye on Paul Hill. Paul Hill is trying hard for positions right now.
You know, and you're going to see some guys take that, and they're going to go out there, they're going to risk it. Like I said, stage one, that's really the time where the drivers are going to get out here and just going to put the hammer down. They got to see how the tires are going to handle, how they're going to hold up, if you will. Stage two, more into the fine-tuning of the car, and then stage three, that's when you bring your long haul and just kind of tuck in and go for the length of it.
Absolutely. We're finding everybody is kind of straightening things out a little bit. It looks like Greg Carr was taking the high line through 1 and 2, one of the only cars to do so. Everybody else has kind of straightened out. Gitter at the front has a car length on Matt DeCiani, and DeCiani holding off Clayton Hoffman behind him.
Sorry, I had a car
bump already.
Had a little bit of a bump there. Looks like that was going to be Kendall LeVron there. Got a little bit loose. No, it wasn't Kendall.
It's all right. Yeah, I saw in the back. I barely saw someone's name go sailing down the list there for a second. Looks like it cost him, whoever it was, they cost him a few positions.
Yeah, Jordan Saylor's now going to be high. He's made contact with the wall as he bounces off the 18 of Alexander Carr yet again. Going to be trying to find him a space in. Here comes Brian Johnson. Brian's a little bit back in the field right now, especially being that he's a playoff driver. He's going to have to try to find a way to get forward. You don't want to be caught up in the middle of the pack, I think, especially at this stage of the race. Stage one, just too much to risk. Got to go way back or way forward. What are your thoughts?
I think you're right. It's the way back or way forward is probably the best solution. My eyes are still locked on Jordan Sailors, who was just losing positions there after that wall bounce. He can't quite get out of the situation where he's in the middle groove, and it's not doing him any favors. Cars have just been sort of freight training right past him on the lower line, and I just want him to get down there. I want him to see that in this part of the race, if you can get in line and find that groove that the other cars are finding, this green flag situation can last a nice long time, and you'll still get your chance to pass. So I just hope he finds it without, someone ramming him from the rear.
Yeah, that's an understatement. And you're absolutely right. Although this is the multi-groove track, you really want to be down low for as long as you can, because that's probably going to be the best way to change your tires. Sometimes traffic dictates otherwise, but I mean, you just kind of got to give it what it is. But man, surprised at just how racy it is that we haven't actually developed more into a single file type of racing. But here we are, almost going pretty wide with the 25 of Derek Carr. Great Carr, sorry, he's the mid runner right there with Brian Johnson. Brian trying to make his way to get to the front because, like I said, he's a playoff driver, so he's got to get as high in the top 10 as he possibly can, because unless he'll get those points.
Wow, Johnson there snapping a little bit, coming out of 4. Just a bit of the back end getting out from under him, but he got back under control very, very quickly. He's got the speed right now on Whitley and Carr behind him, taking it down to the inside line. Yeah, and now the two lines are forming, and yet again, almost like back at the start, we've got people all over the place around the 11, 12 position. Once we get into the double digits, cars are still trying for big passes, and I think that up at the front, while they may have figured things out, the middle of the pack is still not yet ready to settle.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what, definitely looks like Clayton Hoffman is taking the lead right now. And he is going to be doing his thing. And it's always interesting when you get Gitter or Hoffman up front, because they like to dictate the pace. And I can tell you exactly what the 92 car is doing. He is going to force those guys to drive faster than they want to go, for longer than they want to go, earlier than they want to go. And that's going to be to his favor here as this stage comes to an end. But one driver that doesn't look like he is being affected, that's Patrick Gitter. I mean, he's kind of hanging back in third. And also remember, Joe, he doesn't have anything to prove here tonight.
No, he doesn't. Sitting at the top of the list, he's supposed to hold on to that spot. Now, there's more movement that's going to happen in the middle of that championship, top 8 for sure. So Gitter can't sit back. He can't quite sit on his haunches. He's got to put on a good show, regardless. Because I think that a lot has to be said towards the pride of the guy at the top of the list. I don't want to see that get tarnished by anything less than a top 3 here out of Patrick Gitter. You hear me?
Yeah, nobody's
I'm shouting at him.
Yeah, nobody's gonna lay off either. I mean, you got to believe it. These guys come to every time they sit down at the table, their knives are out and their knives are sharp.
Love it.
For-
That's what I love to see.
Yeah. Further back, we got Jordan Sailors. Jordan, a guy doesn't race here a lot in the league, but he is definitely still racing here tonight. He's going to be putting on a good show. Looks like Greg Carr is just really, that's about where that race point is. Up front, everything seems to be a single file. I guess just like it should. It's almost like it's like traffic on I-20 leaving Atlanta on a Friday. It's just flowing.
I'll leave that to you. To me, it sounds like traffic on 90 trying to get into the city on a Friday.
Hey, what city would that be, Joe?
That'd be Chicago, Illinois. Looks like we got a wreck though potentially. The flag is out.
Yeah, if we could actually get back on that one, Kobe. I did see a car actually plow through the infield.
All right. Let's see what happens. Sailors
It might have been.
Eyes up.
We're believing that was the 27 or the 17 of Jordan Sailors.
Yeah, we're going to find out right now. The 17 is still holding it down. Goes up to the wall. Oh, nope. We got eyes on the situation. That was the 18. That was the 18 of Alex Carr that I saw spin sideways there.
Alexander Carr.
Alexander Carr, thank you.
Yeah, yep, and I'm gonna tell you what. And then Mark Sanchez right there on the inside. Probably Mark couldn't have been in a worse place for the 18. And that's just unfortunate, but you're going to start to see that. That's going to be that telltale sign of those tires actually starting to wear out. Those cars are going to start to sidestep, almost like they're drifting. And as they wear out, that's going to be a little bit more prevalent. And that brings out our first caution of the night here tonight. I'm not starting to feel too good about my 4 count.
That's one down, right? Let's get it out of the way now, though.
You don't even want to know what you win. We'll show that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
We're at 14 out of 167 right now. Looking towards 35, I believe, for the first stage.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be sneaking right at the tail end of that 35 lap. And once the 10th place car crosses the line, then that is actually when the caution is going to come out there right at the end of lap 35. So that's what we'll be looking for.
Very good.
Nick King, man, he looks like he's been having his hands full tonight. He has been at the tail end of the lead lap for the majority of the time. Looked like he was actually in danger of actually even going a lap down. Not sure what's going on with that car. Oh, it looks like he said that he pitted on lap 1. Not sure what that's about. Yeah, probably serving a penalty, and this is going to play out in his favor, though, because that's probably the only way you're going to get the wolf off your back. Because I wouldn't want to have Clayton Hoffman. You don't want to see this guy in your rearview mirror, when you're trying to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, you want to start from the back in a long race like this. In some situations, that really does play out in your favor, especially when you can get out the early yellow and you can get squeezed back up, get a second chance in life, reapproach the situation, see how it sounds. And I think that if Nick doesn't realize if Nick doesn't realize the hand he's been dealt right now, he's about to.
Yeah, pit road a little bit busier than we would anticipate, but hey, guys have to stop when they can. I think that is the 54 car that's still down. No,
I think
that's a 3. That's Nick King.
And Nick King, okay.
Continues
Could
to
be a technical issue.
Those. I don't know. I don't know if they're having mechanical issues or what with that car, but he seems to be, he's been down pit road quite a bit.
Looks like we had about 8 cars, maybe 10 end up going down pit road during that stop. A few of them for gas, clearly, with only 7-second pit times.
You might be surprised at how much of that was damaged, because this is one of those tracks where you're not exempt from hitting the wall. That's the easiest way I can say that. And
Yeah.
with these damage models on this car, it doesn't like to whack the wall, especially on that right front. That will cause that car to handle poorly. You'll start to burn up tires. Lights off on the pace car. We're going to start to double it up. Be getting back to boogie here pretty soon.
Nice and quick. Let's see it.
Yeah, always unfortunate when you have to get out of the throttle. Clayton Hoffman had a sizable lead there that now he has relinquished to DeCiani and the rest of the field. Gonna be key to see how Clayton gets off towards the restart. I think that's gonna be the pinch point, because if he gets a launch right there, a good launch, Joe, I think it's gonna be really hard for the rest of the guys to catch him.
That's very true. The highest the highest charger we have, the farthest charger we have right now on the field is Chris Severa, who's back in 12th right now. But up at the front, you've still got DeCiani and Gitter. Gitter fell down 2 places. He started at the pole. He's in 3rd right now. But I don't think I'm still trying to figure out if that's where he's happy being. I think it might be.
Ooh, little bump up there as the lights are off of the pace car. Green flag, Clayton Hoffman kind of choked the field up a little bit more, and that allowed him to get the drive off on Matt DeCiani. DeCiani actually held up that outside line, but the inside line, that's where the bumping was at. Seems like guys got a little bit impatient. I don't know where the cross signal was at, but we are off and away.
Here comes the line forming nice and clean. Hoffman at the front. Gitter just behind him. He took back his spot from DeCiani, who fell in right behind him. We go back a little bit further. We can see things are getting into a 2x2 situation with Pasalacqua on the outside. There on the inside, that's Tim Wortman Jr. Dylan Banks sliding in to take Pasalacqua's spot as he takes it down to the inside.
A lot of drivers up in this fray right here that have to do good tonight. Playoff implications are on the line. I mean, it's really, you got to win big or go home, and they're running out of time. Abner Acosta making his way up to the front is good to see that. He is alongside Kenny Powell, and they are right behind the 83 of Tim Wortman Jr.
Now, I would have said that bottom line was going to make some pace, but Kenny Powell quickly disengaged from the bottom line, went up to the wall there on the home stretch, now back down. I think he's drawing his own line a little bit, Kenny Powell. He's not really drawing a line. It looks like that's tucked into anyone yet. And I say that as he gets up on Tim Wortman Jr., but keeping an eye on it, he's definitely been drawing his own line here, and I think he might be trying to do it mostly to save his tires.
So you have to drive your own line if you can. You don't want to be pressured or dictated by another driver forced, and that's what you get in those 2x2 situations. So Kenny has the luxury right now of not having anybody around him. He's got a little bit of elbow room, so he's actually able to drive his preferred line, which is going to save his tires as we have a challenge for the lead. Patrick Gitter wasting no time now. He is going to go ahead and get his claws out, and he's going to be going around Clayton Hoffman. Clayton Hoffman falls in for right now. Doesn't seem like he's going to be attempting a crossover. Seems that he's going to let it go. Matt DeCiani now. So he is going to be trying to pull up. It's just interesting to see that we already got a little bit of separation up here in this top 5, though, and that they're even going to be separated more to the guys behind them.
Absolutely. You can see this nice pack of 5 cars perfectly in line. That separation now, let's see, if we go back to Brandon Pasalacqua, the gap between him and Tim Wortman Jr., Dylan Banks, is about 0.7 right now, almost a full second. So that gap, the more they fight back there, the bigger that gap's going to get, and the bigger a chance that the guys in front have of pulling away.
Yeah, definitely not really. There are really no surprises right here for me tonight. The only surprise would be that gap is a little bit bigger, and maybe some of the names that are in there and are not in there.
Looks like back there's a 3-wide situation going on now, almost 4 wide. 4 wide now. Dave Fugue Jr., Brillaire Holloman. Woo! Fugue Jr. slotting it up on the outside to the 19. On the inside, the 19 is Jay Hone. All 4 of them working together very carefully to let Dave Fugue fall back a position there. And briefly, in a 4-wide situation, back around the 22nd position.
That's a quote from a lady from Alabama. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Sweet Brown.
4 wide. It's way early. And that's just way sporty.
That is very sporty for this early in the race. It's just something you don't really expect to see. You got a lot of cars that are still pulling that situation, though, and just putting themselves 2 wide, 3 wide. Oh, a little bit of squirreliness right now from Kendall LeVron. He was trying to get back on the outside, wasn't allowed to. Now down to the inside, he's going to give the big squeeze to Chris Severa.
Yes, Severa definitely is trying to make his way to the front as it is go time. 10 laps to go in the stage at the line. So if ever these drivers want to make a move, this is going to be the time to kind of close that gap and get closer to the front. I just hope that these guys actually have enough tire to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, we got to spin. We got to spin.
That's Chris Severa involved in
That's
that one.
Severa.
And the LeVron.
And
Also
the 94,
Wow,
the
that's
61 of Connor Banks. That was Chris Sainer, Connor Banks, Chris Severa.
Looks like Greg Wachinski and Kendall LeVron are going to take the heart of this along with Chad Sander. Those 3 guys right there are going to have, repairs required.
Ooh.
That's hard to unpack right there.
Right here's your problem. Yeah, it looks a little bit like Severa wanted the inside line and went for it without checking his mirrors. I have nothing else to guess. It was a slow movement. It didn't feel like a loss of control. It just felt like a bad decision in terms of going low when there was a car approaching that fast on the inside.
I'm going to have to see that about 20 more times. I can't unpack that on Chris Severa.
That's fair. I don't want to put it at his feet yet,
Wow, and this is from Wachinski. He actually, he didn't know anything. He was just kind of going into the abyss, and then he gets clobbered from behind. It was just, man, just like that, we're already up to 2 cautions, guys, and we're still in stage 1.
That's true.
I'm gonna say, Joe, I hope you win this. if anybody deserves this, it's you. So yeah, definitely gotta fingers crossed that Joe actually wins tonight's prize for the over under.
I was gonna say, based on the way that things are going, it really looks like our producer's gonna win the over under right now. He outbid me by $1 there on the Price is Right rules.
Yeah, so but we're still going to give it to you regardless.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's a guest thing. We're going to be gracious hosts.
I accept.
Man, so do you actually do any sim racing yourself?
I do. Yeah, not very well, but I do some sim racing. I like oval racing a whole ton. Don't really do any road racing, but I like a lot of road racing. I like dirt oval a lot as well. I like dirt sprint is a very, very good pastime of mine when I'm in the sim every once in a while. And I do it all in VR. So I have a VR setup with a nice little budget cockpit, and it gets the job done.
Yeah, you gotta love it. I used to be a VR driver myself. Lights off on the pace card. Time to double it up again. We'll be actually pressing that loud button. That's for you, Brian. Here pretty soon, and getting it louder. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be even more tricky because what we're going to have here, it looks like it's going to be literally almost 6 laps to the cash.
We'll see what happens. 6 laps, and then the top 10 get the points.
And everybody not on the best tires. Plus, we've already gone through a couple different heat cycles. So, yeah, this could get a little sporty here, gentlemen.
That's true. We don't have anybody. We have very few people who have taken a pit lap. Only Brian Johnson in the top 10 has taken a pit lap so far. So everybody's trying to hold on to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just hopefully guys did save tire because if they haven't, this is going to be the trickiest part of the stage right here, the last 5 laps. Pace car going to be getting out of the way once again. We're going to be falling into the hands of Patrick Gitter's down on the inside. He wastes no time getting going from that Geico restart zone. Clayton got caught a little bit sleep there. Is that going to cause that high line to back up just a little bit? Derek Heitman, though, making it known that he wants to get up there, get his name in the broadcast, as he is not going to hesitate to take it 3 wide. He follows Clayton Hoffman, gets the edge on the 6 car. Not going to close the door, going to keep it open. Go ahead.
Yep, I was just going to say that's Brendan Pasalaco down in the 6 car. He's fallen down by himself on the inside line. The real fast line right now is somewhere in the middle, and it looks like he just hasn't quite gotten invited in there yet.
Yeah, and Brandon is one of these guys that he's not even in a must-win the stage situation. Brandon's got to win the race. That's the situation that he is in. Is he's got the 70 car Dylan Banks right along his outside. Dylan's another one of our booth buddies. He's actually spent some time up here with us commentating and calling the race.
Nice.
Matt
Very
DeCiani.
cool. I love when commentators race.
Oh, yeah, Matt DeCiani now, he's getting around, actually has the lead. And he's going to need more than just a stage win as well. Look like Patrick Gitter's not going to go. Well, Patrick gets a little sideways there, and that's going to allow the 92 Clayton Hoffman to fill the gap in. Clayton now going to run by the 21.
Ooh, he's holding on to it, though. The 21 looks like he might have the speed on the outside, at least to play some defense. Is he holding on to it? I think so. And then once we get back to the straightaway, he loses him a little bit in the straight, pulls the car ahead. There goes the 92 to the inside to get that good geometry. And Gitter is left a little bit out to dry in these situations, and that's going to cost him the spot.
Yeah, and you got to believe Gitter's probably trying to do everything that he can. It's just one of those situations where I believe Clayton's tires are just maybe a little bit better, or Gitter's re-engaging. You can see just so slightly there, this car gets a little bit out of line.
Yeah, and that's flying through 3 and 4 there. There's a lot of stability that you can get out of 3 and 4 if you want it, but the speed is also there. And if you let that car get a little bit loose coming out of there, you can find that speed, but you can also very quickly get bit by it.
Yeah, and I know Matt DeCiani was actually enjoying the ride because while those two were engaged otherwise, it allowed him to get a little bit of some breathing room. Now we're going to see how long that lasts. Caution's out again. I'm starting to think I don't like my numbers.
I was going to say that's 3 in stage 1. We're on 33 of 35 in the first stage.
Wow.
Let's see it. Side by side.
3 wide.
Doing some rubbing. Whoa. What a snap of the wheel. Think we can get a ride along from that 17 view as he's driving up here. I just would love to see what the inputs were like a little bit there. So he was side by side.
Crazy in, crazy out.
Trying to get off the car on the outside. Oh, I see.
Those tires are, and look, a lot of drivers coming in now, a lot of takers to pit road, just too close to the end here. No one wants to, and so that's going to, so now, right now, well, that is going to be the stage. So, looks like with the stage over, I do believe Patrick Gitter was your stage winner.
I think he very well might have been, and looked like the 74 was providing all the stability that the 17 had, and as soon as he wasn't on that front quarter anymore, the 17 just was already in the middle of counter correcting. He was sliding. He was sliding well before he was off the back of that bumper.
Toby, can you give us who the stage 1 winner was?
Oh, it would be a safe bet. If they maintain the order when the flag was out.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're still conferring who our Hey, Kitty. Kenny Powell's in the booth. Not sure why you're in the booth.
We're not in the booth. Oh, yeah, we are. Okay. Sorry. I wasn't paying attention, to be honest with you. It was probably not Randy Mullins because he didn't pit. So
I believe it was.
I really don't know, though.
All right. Thank you for the time, Kenny.
Yeah, man.
We'll go ahead and send Kenny Powell out of here. So we're going to forego talking to the stage 1 winner until we actually get that confirmed. It's my fault, ladies and gentlemen. The caution came out, and I was still looking at the film here and didn't see which car actually took that flag. But it's okay because I think we wasted most of the time anyway. Those stage 1 pit stops are already done. We're halfway around the backstretch. So what did you think so far about stage 1?
Well, had a lot of wrecking, which is something that I wasn't necessarily expecting, but I also kind of was. I wanted to be real generous with that 5 guess, Al. But you know what? I think that Homestead, and I think that the way you've got drivers who want to take places, you're going to see wrecks here no matter what. It's not quite the big one. It's not going to be a bunch of massive wrecks, but there's going to be cars that get loose. And stage 1 proved that Homestead, it can be a dangerous track, even in stage 1.
Yeah, 3 wide with old tires. That's a recipe for disaster.
And we saw it happen a couple of times here.
Definitely, and hopefully stage 2 is going to actually shake out a little bit more for us here, and we might get a rhythm going. That's just
I just like a nice, good, old-fashioned race, one where the cars don't go more than like 50 or 60 miles an hour.
I don't even know what to say about that one. That's
Something nice and slow.
That's a pace fest. Yeah, we don't
Just
need
make the
a pace
track
fest.
real small. Just make the track real small. It'll be very interesting.
Yeah, 1 to go here. Lights out on the pace car. We're definitely gonna have to get you to do some voices here once we next time the caution comes out. Which I don't know how long that's gonna be. So
Yeah, it might be the next couple of minutes here. We'll see.
yeah, absolutely.
I'll break out the A material for you.
Roger that. Stage 1 in the books, getting ready to start stage 2.
Yep. Lights are off.
And drivers should have had the opportunity to make the adjustments that they needed, but unfortunately, I don't think anybody had a long enough run to actually be able to throw anything at the car. Pace car down in a way, leading us through the Geico restart is on the 54. Randy Mullins, he wastes no time getting up and going. Randy's first time here tonight. Randy, another driver that's in a must-win situation as it is 3 wide almost behind him. The 99 of Chris Rivera, Matt DeCiani, and Clayton Hoffman all volleying for position.
Now, those top 2 cars, they did not pit. Chris Rivera and Randy Mullins chose not to pit. Everybody else, pit lap was 34. Randy Mullins' pit lap was 13. Chris Rivera's was 26. Mullins' tires are going to start to get a little bit sleepy before everybody else here. Look for him to start losing positions potentially to that. If he doesn't intentionally pit at some point, it's going to cost him.
Now, yeah, I understand. But the one car to watch right now, I do believe, is going to be the 99 of Chris Rivera. Chris hadn't raced here in a very long time, but he is a former series champion here. And I'm going to tell you, that guy right there is a strategy maker.
Wow. Okay. Well, he's up. You know what? You might be onto something. He's currently up 28 positions from where he started at 30th during qualifying. And watching him as far as it's been driving wise, he's been driving very, very aggressively, getting positions with only 40 laps. He's on 20. He's got 26 laps in him before he pitted for gas. He's not going to make it to 75 without pitting. So at some point, Chris Rivera's strategy is going to have to be pit with everybody else.
Well, he's also, I definitely do believe he is going to pit with everybody. But he's going to need less fuel also at the stage break. So that's going to put him out of the pits a lot faster than everyone else because
that's very true.
Yeah, he's taking Yeah, we're gonna see. It's gonna be interesting to see. It's just gonna have to shake itself out. But Randy Mullins, meanwhile, he is definitely stretching his legs and enjoying some breathing room in that clean air. And I don't know, have you raced here at all this week at Homestead?
I haven't yet. No, last time I raced at Homestead was a few weeks ago.
I'll definitely be interested. One of the points that I'll definitely have to try to figure out is just how much and effect the clean air had on the car's performance, because we've seen the guys that have been out in front of this thing and they have definitely stayed just there. They've stayed out and front of this thing. Right now we're stacked
Absolutely.
up. Clayton Hoffman now is going to make his move on the 99 of Chris Rivera. Matt DeCiani, Matt and Clayton are in must-win situations, so they don't want to have to deal with Chris Rivera, because they understand that if Rivera's in the race, it's a pretty good chance that Rivera can win the race.
Yeah, when the situation is like that, you want to give him some clearance because you know he's going to drive right through you. He's got a chance. But probably the only guy to worry about that right now is Derek Heitman. Heitman is back there. Chris Rivera is back there. Rivera's getting passed up a little bit, but he's not letting go.
Man, I should say this is like the most awesomest situation, because I'm going to call some legendary names with the legendary commentator as well. So pretty happy about this right now. You know what I'm looking for? If you could call a couple of laps as Casey Kasem.
Okay, no problem. Hey, we got the top 5 racers in tonight's race. Randy Mullins in first place, Clayton Hoffman, number 2. Number 3, Matt DeCiani. 4, Patrick Kidder. And 5, Brandon Pasalacqua. As they come around now, getting a good look at what's coming ahead in this race. I have to say, probably another yellow flag or two. Just 1 or 2, but nothing more than that. I hope we want to see some nice, clean racing tonight.
Nice, clean racing it is.
That's the stuff. We got a few people hitting the pit box right now. Chad Sanner and Greg Wyszynski just got out of pit lane. Sanner's in.
Yo,
A couple people getting in there.
Wyszynski's been down and out for a while ever since he got that meatball flag. So now he's got his car fixed. Going to be trying to get out there, put some laps in. Good on him, man. I'm not a guy that likes to ride around in a beat up car. I mean, that's just my thing. I mean, are you a finisher or are you? I mean, how does it go for you?
I don't like it when the car can't drive straight. I can't do it. If there's any damage to the car, I have to stop and get it fixed immediately, or else I feel like I'm just going to cause a wreck. And if I feel like I'm going to cause a wreck, I can't drive a car.
True that.
So that's why I usually ride with it.
I can't do that voice for too long.
Yeah, that was awesome. I could definitely tell that it probably would put a strain on your voice, man. I have a hard time just doing me.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun, but it does do it. But it puts a bit of a strain on you. I will say that. The Casey Kasem would be an excellent choice to call some races here.
Yeah, definitely going to freak a lot of people out if they just kind of tune in and are like, wait, is that Casey Kasem?
Hey, that's me, the ghost of Casey Kasem. Here to call some stock racing, ISCA here on iRacing tonight. Thanks for tuning in.
Maybe get a Paul Harvey in there as well.
Paul Harvey, good day.
But speaking of having a good day, Clayton Hoffman, definitely he is the one that's doing that, as he has now gotten around DeCiani and he is stretching his legs.
He really is stretching his legs to the tune of almost a full second ahead of Matt DeCiani here.
And that begs the question, what happened to the last guy that was out front?
Oof, that's a good question. Well,
Mr.
Brandon
Mullins
Pasalacqua was working his way up. Who was
Mr.
up front
Mullins
last time?
Mr. Mullins is falling all the way back. He is currently going to be in 8th place. Mr. Severa is falling all the way back to 13th. So that is just going to illustrate the importance of tires here. And you got to have good tires. You got to keep the tires that you got. It's one of those kind of relationship things.
Yep. I think Mullins was hoping for another yellow earlier on in this stretch of stage 2, didn't get it, and now he is paying the iron price, as they say, losing position after position. Unfortunately, he's back down to 11th now on the outside.
Blair Holloman also doing a great beat. Blair's running the high line, so definitely that's indicative of a car that is handling just the way you want it to. Because if you can actually come in and do something that nobody else is doing, essentially, he is taking the high line all the way around the turns. Most guys want to try to get down as close to that white line as possible. They're going to try to paint that white line. It's easier to do it when the tires are fresh, but you back off another foot, and that's about where you're going to want to race this thing.
Well, it looks like it's giving Holloman a nice chance to drop a bit of a lead foot himself. He can carry a lot of speed out of the turns from that high line, and he's using that to close the gap right now with Kenny Powell. He's only down 0.2 and closing, and it looks like he might have his shot coming into 3 and 4 here, or going into 1 and 2 here. You know, every time you go into that turn, it's wide, but then he comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah, but it's just not going to do that long. I mean, it's great for a little while, but unfortunately, you're just not going to be able to stay up there and run that line like that consistently. It's going to cost you your tires.
Yeah, especially here. Homestead has an abrasive track surface. It's not very smooth. So if you're here and you're running it, you're going to notice that track is going to eat those tires up, especially if you're riding that high line or if you're dropping the hammer the whole time.
Yeah, how does Homestead stack on your list of tracks? Is this a fave for you, or is this just something that you do because you have to?
I'm a fan of, when it comes to racing oval, for me, I really like big drafting tracks and big super speedways. Typically, that's the kind of oval racing I usually get down to. A track like this, where you've got just a little bit more technicality, but you can still get the speed going. I like this. I like this kind of challenge, because this is where, the individual personalities of a race car track can really shine, especially in NASCAR ovals. There's a lot of individuality here. And Homestead, with the palm trees, with the shape of the track, with the, it's got, I think, 20-degree banking. It's a lot of fun. And so I'll race anything with wheels anywhere. But I really, I do enjoy racing Homestead.
Yeah, I get you. I'm a race enthusiast as well. Probably not as enthusiastic about Homestead as I am about some other tracks. I do believe my first actual C-class race in those street stocks was actually at Homestead.
And how'd that go?
I did a lot better back then than I do now, if you can believe that.
I can. You don't think experience grows with age, though?
Yeah, frustration. It's a different time, but I don't know. I think I just kind of lost my mojo at this track. One person that's Clayton Hoffman, man. He's not only stretching his legs, it looks like he's trying to extend his lead out, as he almost has. He's got a 0.937 second lead over Matt DeCiani. Now, the one thing about Clayton, you got to be careful. Clayton's not a guy that you can just let run out there. You still got to have the ability to bring him back in. He's going to push you guys. That's his whole thing. He's got a class.
I'm kind of losing there a little bit. Sorry, a lot of trouble. I did get with gaps between Hawk and DCI. I'm the rest of that, but just quickly here. I'm sticking behind here. I'm almost behind him. Little Johnson's squad now with Heitman and Johnson fighting outside. He's on to it early.
sure what was going on there.
Now it's a little
You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come on, what you waiting for? You gotta get down to Hooters. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we're back. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. It seems that we were having a little bit of technical difficulty with Discord. Just one of those programs that we use that allow us to come in louder and clear to your home. Just tonight it wasn't allowing us to come in loud or clear. But we're back though, nonetheless, and this race is still continuing. Clayton Hoffman definitely leading the way. But we were actually having a conversation, Joe, and I can't quite remember what it was, but it was pretty dang important.
It was the most important. It was the codes, Al. It was the nuclear codes. No, we were talking about the gap that Hoffman was putting on DeCiani at first there, because it was very, very impressive. And the look at the front of this field right now is cars spread out over almost a full 2 seconds worth of time. So I think that's where the conversation kind of trailed off a little bit before Discord did us real dirty.
Yeah, and the big thing is here, man, we're coming down to 10 laps to go in this stage. And this is a money stage, but you see how much the lack of cautions has actually played in to this scenario here. So if we go into this next stage with I do believe we'll have a 67 lap fuel range. So there is a stop that's going to have to be made, but without cautions, it's a completely different race.
Yeah, we haven't had to worry about fuel yet. It has not been a consideration aside from time on the pit. So seeing that come into play here is going to be a different ballgame. Like you said, that's going to be a green flag pit. So any of the strategy that these guys have had for the first two stages, you better have something in their pocket for the third one.
Yeah, and one good thing about it is you don't have to use that access road, so that's actually going to expedite that pit process a lot more. But that's what it's going to come down to, is we are less than 10 to go in this stage. Fuel spread out, all the money on the table right now, and we're running out of chances to grab it. What are your thoughts?
Well, all the money on the table right now, everyone's spread out. 10 to go, not even 10 to go. Hoffman's going to win the stage. Now, the question is DeCiani or Gitter going to take second?
Now, and then it's going to beg, is this the setup that they're going to be running in that next longest stage? Because maybe
that's what you're asking me too. I'm sorry. You're asking me who you think. Oh, I think going to take it overall at this point.
Well, no. We're just talking about the race in general. I'm just wondering, maybe some guys are kind of showing their hand a little bit more than others.
Okay. I'd say so. I think Hoffman's shown us exactly what he wants to do for the rest of the race. He wants to get out ahead, hold the front, stay there for as long as he possibly can, and just keep a gap. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't want any side-by-side racing. He's going to drive hard until he gets that gap, and he's going to hold on to it. And right now, it's working for him.
Yeah, definitely. He is the only driver here to put down a sub 33 second lap, but he's got the fastest lap time, and that was a 32.992. No one is close to that under 33. So that goes to display just what is going on there. He definitely bought himself, he bought a fast car.
He did. And that car is taking him places, I got to say. The gap is almost 2 seconds now. DeCiani and DeCiani and Gitter are still close enough that there is a battle that could happen here at the end of the stage. 6 laps left. I think if Gitter wanted it, he could take it, but based on what we were talking about earlier, he's at the top of his game right now. He doesn't need to fight that hard. He doesn't need to put himself at risk or put DeCiani at risk. Excuse me.
No,
he just needs to drive the car.
Yeah, if anything, those two guys are going to be working together. He'll be cheering on Matt DeCiani the entire way, because that's the next step, I do believe, for those drivers, is to try to get Matt DeCiani on the winner's circle. They got to get him high on the podium. Stage 1, though, definitely, it showed us a lot of bit. Now Stage 2 is coming to an end. We saw a completely different stage than we did at Stage 1. And now I'm starting to wonder, like, how these strategies going to shake out, because I'm excited if we get the opportunity to have green flag pit stops.
Oh yeah, green flag pit stop. That's where the races get shaken up. That's where the deep strategy, the 4D chess starts to come into play. And I love seeing that play out over a long race. Sometimes long races can get a little long in the tooth, but when you've got these green flag pit stop situations and you've got drivers trying to decide, when do I go, how long do I pull out, it's really exciting. Genuinely exciting.
Yeah, sometimes, I never was a fan of stage racing, but I guess since it's what pays me, I love stage racing. Yep.
It's hard not to love it.
Got the 54 of Randy Mullins. He is going to short pit the stage, which definitely that brings in a new added layer of strategy. We're going to see if Chris Severa does the same.
That's a good question. It was him and Severa earlier with the deep pitting strategy, the big brain strategies that we didn't expect the other drivers to do. Everybody else is pitting in their 30s. They were the only two who chose not to, and they're still the only two who haven't pit since then. It looks like Mullins pit has his on 70.
No, Mullins just pit. Randy's just on his way.
Pit. Yeah,
absolutely. So we know exactly what his strategy was. Waiting to see. Christopher should be coming down anytime, because obviously he is going to short pit the stage as well. So these guys, obviously, they were giving up because they don't care about stage points. Mullins does. Mullins he's a playoff driver, but this is going to allow him to be up to the front of the field. So now he actually be in, with only about a 4-lap deficit. He should be able to call the shots for a while. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think with only the 4-lap deficit, Mullins is in a position. Where is he right now? Mullins he's still just going out of the pits, but he's a lap down. I think that.
But you'll get that. I
think you're seeing something that I have yet to see out, but I think that I'm going to trust your judgment on
it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I am not hallucinating.
I think it's my lack of experience, though, that's getting me to not see it. So I really just kind of want to see how he can make this turn around for him into a positive as we go through the next stage.
Well, the biggest advantage for him is he's not going to have to pit the same time as everyone else. So he'll be able to dictate when he actually pits, where a lot of other drivers are going to come in when someone else comes in. So whether it be a caution or whatever, he actually, that's the only difference. Caution's out, that's going to end the stage. Clayton Hoffman, your stage 2 winner. Matt DeCiani is going to be in second. Patrick Gitter comes across the third. Derek Heitman in fourth. Brandon Pasalacqua fifth. Brian Johnson sixth. Josh Schaffner seventh. Dylan Banks eighth. Kenny Powell ninth. And Jeffrey Souza rounds out the top 10. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with your stage 2 winner, Clayton Hoffman.
You win You served and forged the relationships that only being baptized in the fire of combat can develop. At FallenVeteran.com, we understand the unique bond that veterans share. That's why we've created a platform where you can connect, share experiences, and build lifelong friendships with fellow veterans. Signing up is easy. Simply visit www.fall-in-veteran.com and create your profile. Customize it to reflect your military service, interests, and hobbies. FallenVeteran.com is more than just an online community. It's a support network where you can find resources, advice, and encouragement from those who understand what you've been through. Whether you're looking for camaraderie, mentorship, or simply a place to share your stories, FallenVeteran.com has it all. Join thousands of veterans who have already found their tribe and start connecting today. FallenVeteran.com. Come join us and experience the power of community. Sign up now at www.fall-in-veteran.com.
And we are back to exciting stage racing. This stage 2 pit stops underway. This is going to be the car race off of pit road. Looks like it is done, and we're going to call Clayton Hoffman up to the booth. Clayton Hoffman, big gal up in the booth. You got me.
Yes, sir.
Hey, congratulations on your stage 2 victory, Clayton. Looks like you also got a little bit of something out there for everybody as you were pulling away from the crowd. Is that by design, or you're just that fast?
I mean, I knew I'd be top 5 competitive coming in, but I made a bunch of changes to the setup during the week, so I wasn't really sure how I was going to stack up in the race. I kind of see what's going on now, and I was not doing a great job on the short run there. So, made some mistakes. May have set up the track a couple times, but it all worked out. That second stage went clean and green pretty much the whole way. I can't remember if we had a caution right at the beginning of the stage or not, but I know we had a bunch of cautions that first stage, and I really was not having a good time in the short run.
Yeah, I imagine not. So I guess the key for you is this thing to actually go green. The car obviously set up better for the long run.
Yeah. My wear and tires look pretty good. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go. I think we're done with cautions, but I also didn't expect us to have like 3 or 4 cautions there in stage 1. So we'll see. I made some adjustments, and hopefully they're good.
Yeah, absolutely. So how was it this week getting ready for this race here? Is there something you had to, is Homestead one of your favorite tracks? Because it looks like you might actually be able to get your win here tonight.
No, I'm not very good at driving this track. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite tracks. I've had some good races here. Back in the Gen 6, I know I love this track, but in this next gen car, I'm not a huge fan of this track. I just don't think it drives very well, and the car's already real twitchy. So putting it on a track that's twitchier by design, basically, makes it a uncomfortable experience there, testing and trying to figure out how to make pace.
Well, it definitely seems that you guys have made the pace. We're going to let you get back at it. Congratulations for your stage 2 victory. Who are you shouting out tonight?
Shout out to you guys for broadcasting, putting on the show. Thanks to Kenny for putting on the league. Thanks to all the guys, for all the fun racing we had there in the first couple stages when we were able to go racing. It's been pretty fun, throwing some sliders and whatnot. And yeah.
All right, but we'll let you get back at it. Hopefully we'll see you on the podium at the end of this thing.
Thank you. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
That was Clayton Hoffman, ladies and gentlemen, our stage 2 winner. Clayton definitely coming down to get it done, Joe. He said that this is definitely not one of his favorite tracks, so I don't know how I'm feeling about him actually winning this thing.
He said that, but at the same time, he's driving the way he's driving. So I think he might have just been. He may not be one of his favorites, but he's undeniably driving a line here that is working for his vehicle. So it's whatever's coming together tonight for Clayton. It's coming together, and I think he was being a little bit humble with us, which was very, very admirable. But he's a damn good driver.
And he has taken us back to the green flag, wasting no time getting it done, leaving Gitter just a little bit behind. This is going to be this next 2 laps. This is going to set them up for their long run. So you're going to see drivers definitely air it out because they got to pull Clayton in. You don't want to let him get away. If you want to call the shots, you got to get up front and you got to do it now. So look for some drivers to risk the biscuit. Risk it for the biscuit here.
Absolutely. Now we have 81 laps, 167. We have about almost 100 laps to go here. So it's going to be a nice long stage. But if you can hold out at the top of this stage and just get tucked in, you're going to stay there for a long, long time until the next yellow comes out at least. And that's what Clayton's been able to prove so far. And right now, from where things stand, it looks like he might do it again. A little bit loose there, the 50.
Goffner actually stepping out on himself, a great save by the corn man, keeps it going in the right direction, allowing us to keep it racing because Clayton made a very valid point, and that is, it's really awesome as long as we're racing green flags.
Yeah, he was saying that earlier. He was saying, as long as we were able to go racing, things are good.
Yeah, absolutely. Brian Johnson down on the inside. He's going to have the 70 car. And that 70 car of Dylan Banks, he's been running consistently up in the top 5, top 6 all night. No stranger to actually being up front. That's going to also come into play as Kenny Powell slowly sneaks his way back up into the conversation.
Powell has been driving very, very well tonight. He's been staying around where he started. He's about 6 places up in a pack of cars that have driven and charged a little harder than him. Jeffrey Souza is still 21 places up on the lead lap. Didn't pull any fancy tricks like Mullins or like Mullins or Severa in terms of pitting. Also up very, very far as Souza goes for his 22nd place. He's fighting right now on the outside to try to keep those places up. Very impressive charge from a guy who hasn't done anything too crazy with his pit stops.
Yeah, absolutely. We're halfway through this thing. Looking back, Chris Severa spent 20 seconds on pit road, so I'm assuming that some of that was damaged because it wasn't all fuel and tires. That might explain the reason why he kind of fell back to the way he did, and that also might explain the way he is where he is now in terms of the strategy. But Patrick Gitter keeping Clayton Hoffman honest, that would be the statement that we're going to run with here tonight, is he is making Clayton pay. Because remember, Gitter's in already, but he's putting pressure on the 92 of Clayton Hoffman, and I'm imagining that's probably not making Clayton feel too good.
No, in a position where it should be Clayton out front by himself, it looks like Gitter has found a spot tucked into that bubble just behind him where he can safely keep his car. If you look, he's following Hoffman's line pretty well. He's getting down a little bit lower on the inside maybe, but he's following Hoffman's line. He's not driving his tires as hard as Hoffman is, but it's working out for him. He's staying in the rearview mirror, which means he's staying in Hoffman's mind, and soon I think you're going to try to see Hoffman go a little bit lower, push a little bit harder on some of these exits, and try to increase the gap that he just can't seem to shake.
Yeah, definitely is. These two are no strangers to each other. They've been racing each other for as long as racing has been going on. I guess they're like the Dodge brothers, if you will. Also, though, further back, man, Derek Heitman, he is having a good run. He's got Matt DeCiani and Brandon Pasalacqua tucked in with him. As a matter of fact, if you look right back to where Derek is, he's got a lot of guys that are right in there amongst him that really need to do well here tonight. Look at Abner Acosta. Abner's all the way back to 11th place. He has been in the top 10 tonight, but Abner's another one of these guys that he really, really needs to get a win. He has been so close. I mean, he was close at the road course. I do believe we were out at Watkins Glen. Got the victory taken away from him. but he's running out of time, and I don't know how well. He's definitely more of a road course guy. I don't know how well he's going to do on some of these shorter tracks, but that's definitely something he's going to be wanting to keep in his mind as well.
Absolutely. I'm watching him right now. He's got a very smooth line. He's putting the speed on Josh Schaffner right now. Schaffner waving a little bit more. Abner just ice cold with a very smooth and steady movement down to the line, holding that car in there. It's working for him in the meantime. Like you said, he's working his way up. He's in 11th right now. Hopefully he can get it a little bit higher up the list. Trying to find some more spots in the crew here where things are stacking up. It looks like Kenny Powell is working to avoid some activity between Jeffrey Souza and Dylan Banks.
You know, it's funny that you actually use the term Iceman to Abner Acosta in terms of Josh Schaffner when I actually dubbed Josh Schaffner the Iceman. So that was the nickname that I gave him.
Well, it's working. It's working for the Iceman. The Iceman is up 8 positions right now, holding on to the outside line. Abner is right behind him, and we'll see what happens here. It looks like Abner is signaling for the outside potentially, but I don't think he's going to drive too aggressively to take it. Ooh, big side-by-side right now with the 24.
Yes, watching this battle between the 24 and the 4, Brian Johnson and Johnson, you know, these two got a little bit close, but they got a lot of faith, I guess you would say. They used to be teammates. Johnson used to be a part of the G&G group, but it since made the switch over to Paradigm, where those Paradigm guys, they're a second-year team, and they really, you know, they've come out, a second season team, I believe. They've really come out swinging for the fences, and, you know, nothing but good things to say about those guys. That's going to be Brandon Pasalacqua. That's going to be Josh Schaffner. You're going to have Randy Mullins is in that group. So, yeah, the Paradigm guys. And I'm sure I've missed somebody.
It's all right. You knew more than me, and that's a good start. Right now, eyes on the situation. There was a little bit of a shakeup earlier between Kenny Powell and Brian Johnson, but that looks like it sorted itself out. In fact, a lot of the cars here at the front have sorted themselves out. The top 10 not really doing too much shuffling at the moment. Maybe Jeffrey Souza, who found his way up to a 10th place finally. He's still holding on. Abner is right behind him.
Yeah, these guys are going to start to panic a little bit once we get 34 to 44 laps on the tires. You know, that's when it's going to get a little bit hairy, because the last thing that the 92 is going to want to see, he's not going to want to see a caution. He's going to want to be able to get that car out there, let it run. He's got it set up for the long run. That's where it's going to perform the best. So that's exactly what he wants to see, and I think that's what we would like to see as well.
Yeah, we're coming up on that the 30 lap mark here. Most cars pitting on 77. We're coming up on 97. That's going to be the 30 lap mark on these tires. So keep that in the back of your mind. Every car on the top 11, at the very least, from what I can see on my list here, has pit on 77. So there is going to be a big group of those guys at front who have to make very important decisions within the next 10 laps as to when they're going to get those next set of tires.
Yes, I do believe most guys are going to try to break this up, and they're going to try to get it into they're going to try to manage it with one stop. So, yeah, showing that they're right now 18 laps on their equipment. I'm thinking that nobody's going to want to come down until, I'm guessing, around Dave Hughes actually coming in.
Speaking of which,
he's not going to be able to make it here, so we're going to put this down as an unscheduled stop. You know, not sure what's happening with the 13.
Oh, he's out.
He got out of the car.
He is out of the car.
Yeah, that way too soon for pit stops, but I'm assuming that most of these guys are going to try to bring it in with 40 laps to go. Between 37 and 44 laps to go is when most people are going to try to be bringing them in.
Sounds good. Around the $1:20 mark then on the lap count.
Yeah, that time. But we'll see. That's why they call them strategies, because they don't always work out. Sometimes you have to change them. Sometimes they change mid-stride, so you just have to be flexible. We used to have that saying in the Army. We say that the Marines were Semper Gumby. No, Semper Fidelis, right? Always faithful. We were Semper Gumby. Always flexible.
Always flexible. I like that. When I went to school, we were taught the difference between strategy and tactics. Strategy is the plan before you go in the room, and tactics is once you're inside.
Well said. I didn't go to school, but you just taught me that.
I went to school to make video games, and that's one of the things that I learned there.
Well, hashtag learning for free.
That's right, everybody.
Well, speaking of learning
something today.
Speaking of learning for free, this pack's not getting that. They're not actually capitalizing on the ability to see those lap lines that the 92 and the 21 are running, because they are so far ahead of these guys. I don't think they can see them.
No, there's no eyes on.
Abner Acosta now trying to make his move. He's going to be on the outside of Jeffrey Souza. Souza with the Souza Media Group. Jeffrey Souza, he's a big name in racing too. Actually, even I know he runs with Matt DeCiani and Cruz. Also, he's a setup guy.
Okay. So he knows his way around the car then.
He knows his way around the car. Absolutely. I can get in the car, and I need help getting out the car. But other than that, I don't want to touch the car. I just want to drive.
If you just want to drive it, I'm kind of in the same boat, to be honest.
I just want to drive.
Watching right now, the 55, Abner was able to hold on to that spot. Man, great driving right now there out of him. He's only 3 positions up, but Souza is really pressuring him to stay as close to Schaffner as Abner can. Souza with his own problems right now from Paul Hill. That whole little pack. Well, we are getting into what I like to call the Sunday drive, which is where the whole field is just kind of driving along. Not a lot going on.
Well, there is kind of, it's like when you see that duck and he's out there on the pond and it looks just so calm, but underneath, his feet are just treading. Well, that's what's happening right here, because at least inside these cars, even though these guys are having to do everything they can to kind of stay straight, a little bit of desperation starting to eke in. Now, the good thing is all 8 of the playoff drivers that are still in contention are all in the top 8 here tonight, in the top 10, sorry.
Okay.
So that's got to make them feel pretty good.
Yeah, it lines up. Makes you feel good about your position in the playoff for sure. If you're in the top 10 and you're in the top 10 of the race.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the only way you can truly secure yourself and know that you got a spot, man, is just to go ahead and get the W. Because without the W, you're still going to have a Y. You're still going to have that question mark.
Yep. The top of the race right now is very strung out. Hoffman has got a second on Gitter. Gitter's got 3 seconds on DeCiani. So pretty soon, Hoffman might even be coming around to face some of the cars ahead of him.
Well, and the one thing, too, that's going to actually play out in these guys' favor, they're actually going to know exactly what lap the leader's pitting on. Because usually that's information that's kind of privileged. It's always insider information, but now Clayton has no choice but to show his cards because his lead is so long, but he doesn't want to lose that lead now. He could actually lose that lead on pit road because stranger things have happened. One of my most famous sayings is you drive for show and you pit for dough, kind of like in golf, but putting. But here it's pitting instead, and that's just as important as putting.
I like that. Drive for show and putt for dough. That's true. If you want to seal the deal, you're going to have to putt.
Absolutely. And if you want to seal the deal, you're going to have to pit. And if you got to pit under green flag conditions, man, that is going to be what's going to separate everybody here tonight, because that's what it's going to come down to.
It definitely is. We're settled into the triple digits now. approaching 110. Well, we're at 106 out of 167. So only about 60 laps left to go in tonight's race.
Yeah. It'll be 60 laps to go at the line, and that is awesome, buddy. Gonna be taking this thing home, and right now, this is a manageable part, because drivers at this point, they're starting to look towards that pit window. We're already in the pit window. What we mean by that is, should a caution come out, these drivers will still have enough fuel to make it to the end of the race. Tires, that's a different conversation. A lot of drivers have been saving tires. Some drivers have been saving fuel. But we're definitely getting ready to figure out who's been doing what, as we're just not going over that 30-lap stint window there, Joe.
Yeah, that's true. And we are in the window, as you said. We just cracked the window a little bit. It's widening as we get ready to see some more appropriate times to pit as the bell curve kind of starts to swell. We're looking to see when folks are going to take advantage of that. Hoffman way out in front. He might be the trendsetter. Folks are going to get a good idea of when to pit, but no one can really see him. Only Gitter can. So I have a feeling that we're going to see the front set their own times. And then maybe people will fall into play pretty quickly, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing who's going to be the actual person to really pit first here. Who's going to break that mold?
Well, I'll tell you what, I do not believe it's going to be the 92 Clayton Hoffman, because in my mind, Clayton's done such a better job of conserving. He's been saving tire, maybe not fuel, but he has his car set up for the long run. I think you're going to see some drivers that are further back in the pack that are miserable right about now. Their cars are starting to handle like crap, and they're just praying for a reason to come down pit road. So the 23 car, here he comes. That is going to be John Bender. And this is what we're going to assume to be a scheduled stop. So that means Bender should be taking 4 tires and fuel. And I don't know if he's going to plan on making it all the way on there, because that's still a long run.
Yeah, with yellows potentially involved, or with the race potentially lengthening, it could be a long run if you pit now.
Yeah, that's exactly
what
he did.
Another 5 or 10 laps.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You might get that instant gratification, but it's gonna hurt you in the long run. The good thing to note, though, he was actually able to come down, make a green flag pit stop, and stay on the lead lap. So if anything, drivers are going to be checking that out. We're going to see exactly how long he spent in the box. 14 and a half seconds. So that right there, that is 4 tires and fuel.
Very good. He's set up potentially for the rest of the race. And if we do get any later yellows, that will be beneficial to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to tell you what, and we're not even going to say yellow, all right, because this thing is set right now. I think we're feeling good. Everybody's doing the right thing. All they got to do is just keep driving around in circles and try not to hit anything. So we'll hope that old Ralph can leave the flag stand safely, go get himself a corn dog, because he's worked hard enough for it. And we're going to rest our voices just a little bit, take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in time to cover the green flag pit stops.
You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come on, what you waiting for? You gotta get down to Hooters. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And we are back, where Green Flag Racing continues here at Homestead Miami Speedway. We are at the Hooters 250 here, trying to get it done. Green Flag pit stops have unofficially started as Chris Severa just came down. But Joe, I think I just told you he spent 9.8 seconds in the box, which that's two tires and some gas.
Just the two. So he knows something that we don't. I'm trying to think about how hard Severa was driving, I would have assumed that he would have needed all four, but I think that he trusts the vehicle enough that he can make two work for him. And if that's the case, I'm going to trust him on it.
And he trusts himself enough to know that he can make that work. And, he's taking the long haul here because he's at 50 laps to go here in this thing, and he's already pitted. So that means he's snug in the seat for a while, barring there being some kind of a caution or another scenario.
Yep. And that's going to be something that, that's part of that big brain strategy stuff that we saw. We said earlier in the race, we had those two quick blasts to the end of the stages, but we both knew ahead of time that this was going to become a strategy game. And Chris is definitely displaying a little bit of that strategy right now.
Yeah, and Randy Mullins, he kind of put himself back on the schedule with everybody else. Connor Banks is actually already pit as well, but he pit a little bit early. He's got 7 laps on his tires. And everybody else, though, from the top 12, I say, they're all right there together. And I think they're just waiting to see who's going to do what. Now, the 21 is definitely off the pace as he has fallen tremendously back. Matt DeCiani is going to be all over his bumper here. As Clayton Hoffman's still doing what Clayton Hoffman does, though. He is still dominating this thing, leading every lap in stage 2.
Hoffman is a monster. And I think that it's going to be interesting when he does finally pit to see who can catch up, how far, and then how hard he's going to have to work to get back to where he is. Is it going to be something that that pays off? And I think that it will. I got a feeling that even after his pit stop, which is going to be a quick one, that Hoffman is going to be towards the front, if not back where he was, based on especially how far stretched out he is right now.
Yeah, looking at 42 laps on his tires, this is that squirrely time. You've heard of Funky Town. This is squirrely time. And we got to watch with 47 laps to go. So right now I'm believing we're definitely within the pit window. You're going to start seeing cars come down plus or minus 5 from where we're at.
That's what I'd like to see. Clayton Hoffman, you were mentioning it, squirrely time. He's having squirrely time right now. I just watched him get a little bit loose and then maybe even kiss the wall a touch. He's feeling it. He's starting to feel the itch a little bit now, and I think that it's going to be just a matter of laps before he's finally tapping out and saying, hey, I can't quite push this thing the same level that I can, and I have been for the past 45 laps now. It's time to get in, time to get fresh, and if I want to win this thing, I'm going to have to time it just right.
Green Flag pit stops have begun. The 54, Randy Mullins, he is coming down. Looks like we also got the 74 car down. That's going to be Paul Whitley II, the 24, Kenny Powell on pit road. So, yeah, I think you can officially say Green Flag pit stops are underway. Now we're just waiting to see when our leader, Clayton Hoffman, is going to come in and how many guys are going to come out before he does.
Let's find out. Hoffman into 1, going through it right now. Nice and close down at the transition between the grooves. Just riding that groove a little bit, back out to the wall. Can't quite tell if he's on pace for a pit stop right now. I don't think so. He might be going another time around. We'll have to see.
Yeah, with 45 laps to go, he is right at the dead split window. So, if anything, maybe he gives himself a cushion of 5 because he's still got the lead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And nobody behind him, they're not trying to go in either because they want to go in when Clayton goes in.
When he goes in. Yep, they're looking at him. They're looking at him for the cue because they all know that when he goes in, that's their best bet to stay right where they are. in terms of the order. And if Clayton can make his pit stop work for him, it's going to work for the rest of them.
Yeah,
But he is pretty far ahead.
And you cannot afford to let Clayton Hoffman have fresher tires as the 21 of Patrick Gitter making his way down on pit road, kind of tilting his hand a little bit because we know that his car definitely suffered a lot from tire degradation as his lap times completely fell off. 29 of Mark Sanchez. Yep, 29 of Mark Sanchez also down. Here comes the 25 of Greg Carr.
It's definitely a spread out strategy. I would have expected a much larger block of the cars in the top 10, more like the top, I guess in the top 15 to have pit. Now we've got...
And there it is. Clayton Hoffman possibly ruined his chances of winning this thing here tonight.
You think so with that?
Looks like he got it under wraps. Looks like he is still going to be good to go. We're watching, though. No black flag for Clayton just yet, but see how quickly it all could have turned south.
If he had black flagged that would have been it for sure. But without the black flag, there was some wild strategy there. It almost felt like he was trying to trick the guys behind him into taking an extra lap or two just by slamming into the pit lane as fast as he could. He's in. He took 2 tires, and he's out.
Knew exactly what he was doing. The entire thing was orchestrated, and now he's out there to put some laps down to get some time going. And like you said, 2 tire stop for the leader. That right there is going to, that's saying something. No, wait, look, Clayton took 4 tires.
Oh, he took 4? I was wrong. I thought that was faster.
Nope, he had a 14.5-second stop, so it looks like he got 4 tires.
Oh, you're right. I must have glanced away for a half second. I'm sorry there. That is a 2-tire stop for sure.
No, it's all good, man. We're here to each other. It looks like we have Abner Acosta on pit road. And I believe Abner's probably going to be one of our... Well, no, we still have quite a few drivers that have not come in. Derek Heitman, Tim Wortman Jr., Jay Hone. Those drivers are still out along with Abner Acosta, but Abner's down now. That should reset the window for us.
Absolutely. Wortman Jr. is still out there. Looks like Hone's on pit row now. He's just coming out. Wortman Jr. and Heitman still out there, and Clayton Hoffman has moved back up to 3rd now. So he's in perfect prime spot because any minute now, Derek Heitman and Tim Wortman Jr., they're going to have to make their pits, and that's going to give Clayton Hoffman his spot back with a vengeance. Hoffman, 2.5 seconds ahead of Gitter. That's pit lane talking for you. He's in prime position to sail home with this right now with 67 left.
And you're absolutely right. This is the time he's just going to have to do that. He's just got to make sure that he settles into his rhythm. He doesn't overdrive the car. You don't want to overdrive the corners. You don't want to wear the tires out prematurely. You want to just make sure that the last laps of this race are as smooth for you as possible. The 76 car, Derek Heitman, he is down pit road right now. This is going to be his last scheduled stop. Also, the 83 of Tim Wortman Jr. finds his way down pit road.
And that's going to be all it's going to take for Clayton Hoffman to go sailing past them in one lap and regain his lead. Gitter behind him. Matt DiCianni and Brandon Pasalacqua after him.
Yeah, so these guys are going to go put the hammer down now. And I think that some of the guys that pitted a little bit later are going to just take advantage of the fact that they're going to have fresher tires for a shorter period of time, which might allow them to drive just a little bit faster than they normally would. A little bit harder.
See here.
Well, you got nothing to lose at this point, especially if you're a playoff driver. I mean, because you cannot go back in the holler into Martinsville and hang your hopes and dreams of a championship on winning that race. It just doesn't work that way.
Not in Martinsville.
No, sir. Definitely one of the the shortest track on the series, but definitely a fun short track. But, man, she's a doozy. And I know we got some guys here in the field Joe, that are actually, they're Martinsville type guys. Some guys are really good on the short track.
I do like watching a short track race. I gotta say, it's fun to watch that Coliseum style short racing go on. So if this is wrapping up at Martinsville, I might just have to tune in myself and have to pick that race up.
Well, yeah, that will be the last race to determine the round of 4. It's going to be next week at Martinsville. But Clayton Hoffman, he's definitely trying to solidify his position here tonight. I mean, definitely coming here in. He's getting it done. That's all I can say about it. It looks like Patrick Gitter has put up a sub 32-second lap as well.
Very good, very good.
Kenny Powell, Dylan Banks, Matt Viciani, Patrick Gitter, all having sub 32-second laps. So good on them. Blair Holloman also with a sub 32-second lap. 33, sorry.
Yep, they're pulling it off, and looks like Kenny Powell, Blair Holloman, bunch of great laps being put down, right around the 4th, 5th place position too. But Clayton Hoffman's still out there in the lead. Gitter with a faster lap, but Clayton Hoffman just has such a great gap that even the fastest lap in the race isn't going to close that.
Yeah, you got to believe that Gitter's going to try to do everything in his power to rain on Clayton's parade, but I just don't see Hoffman putting himself in a situation, for rain. Looks like he is set up for clear blue in 22, and he's going to do what it does. But we're still watching this thing. Still got 33 laps to go, so it's far from over just yet. As Abner Acosta makes his way around. I've lost Abner.
Yeah, where did he go? I lost him for a split second there, too. Oh, there he is. The beautiful 55 private label car.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what position is he in.
Oh, right now he's in 13th right now.
Okay.
Yep, just sailed past Jeffrey Souza and took 13th. My
ATVO is does not show him, so that's why I kind of stopped in sequence. We're all challenged. I'm challenged technologically. The 23 car, John Bender, he is back down pit road again. This is going to be his second stop. Remember, we talked about that, him actually breaking it up into 2 stops. So don't know if he's going to take 4 or if he even has 4. Yeah, he should have another set.
Yep, we're going to find out. He goes up for 2, and then I'm betting there we go, up for the other 2. 4, and he's on the road. Little wheel spin. And here comes the 23, back on the road. Speaking of back on the road, that's the 76 right now of Derek Heitman on the outside. Inside, it's the 26 machine, Paul Hill. Hill looking for a spot, putting the squeeze on Heitman. Not quite able to find it, so he goes back down to the inside, gets blocked. Pretty big block right there by Kenny Powell. Powell been very defensively driving tonight. He's throwing blocks left and right into the wall with Powell.
Yeah, Derek Heitman not cutting Powell any slack. Powell definitely tried to make his presence felt, and unfortunately, it looks like he might have tagged the wall. Now, I wonder what Brian Johnson is thinking after all of this, because after all, he is a playoff driver that's kind of caught right up in the fray of this.
Yeah, he's in the fray for sure. Brian Johnson in the back a little bit. He's in a prime spot to get caught up in whatever could happen, but let's hope that nothing does here, as it looks like Powell gave up the position a little bit. Heitman on the inside of Powell's quarter panel, stealing some of that speed with the side draft through into 1. Down on the inside, he's got him a little bit. They're side by side, nose to nose. Powell flies through the apex, though. He's got a better exit. Takes it away.
And Derek Heitman, just like that, is not only going to relinquish that position, but he's going to let another go as Brian Johnson makes his way around the 76 car and continues his charge to try to get to the front. Brian currently being shown in 8th position. Definitely got to make some moves here. If we are currently 27 laps to go, He is on the inside of Kenny Powell, going to push him way up the racetrack. Powell ultimately trying to cross over.
He looks like he had a bail on that, though.
Yeah, and here comes another playoff driver to go by him. That is Randy Mullins making his way back up into the top 10 for his final charge of the evening, hoping that he has any shot at all of putting that car in the winner's circle.
Yep, close battle here between the two of them. A lot of switching positions, a little bit of loop-de-loop between Kenny Powell and Randy Mullins right behind him.
Clayton Hoffman sitting with just over a 3.5 second lead over second place Patrick Gitter. Everything he can to this point, man. I know he is going to be pretty excited if he does win in.
The only other battle going on that I can see up at the front is Dylan Banks as he passes Paul Hill. He's got the nose going into the back. Can he take it? Let's see. They're going down to the inside now. Hill rides the line. But that 70 machine of Banks has got the speed. Now he's going to have to use it.
And that's one driver that's probably enjoying seeing that happen, and that's the guy that's in front of him, Brandon Pasalacqua. Brandon also in a must-win situation here tonight. He has been running solid, always been in the top 5 for the majority of the evening, just not quite able to top that top 3, and that's where he's going to need to be.
He's working his way up there, but right now Dylan Banks sitting exactly where he started in 6th place. Not a lot of points going to come from changing places here unless he can catch up to Paul Hill, and that is thankfully only about a 0.2 second gap. But he's going to have to make it work.
Make it work, indeed. That's going to be, you should just put that on the side of his car. Make it work. I think I'm going to take that motto for the rest of 2024, people. Make it work.
I like it.
You know, don't call it talking about the car's too loose, it's too tight. No, make it work.
Yep, make it work.
Taking a play out of Joe's playbook, a page out of Joe's playbook there.
Patent pending. Looking back right now at the race, though, Al, we got another little mix-up going around, 9th, 10th place. Kenny Powell, down on the inside, has been playing that defense, trying to hold off Randy Mullins and Josh Schuffner together. Schuffner looking for the inside now.
Yeah, Schuffner and Randy both on the same team. Both used to be teammates with the old 24 there, Kenny Powell. So I don't know how much love is left on the track. I don't know how much love is lost, but I do know that the 54 car has got to get around the 24 if he wants any shot, because he's still in this thing. He's still in the playoffs, you know, and he's running out of time. That's just the easiest way that I want to say this. And I think everybody in here has got to believe they still got a shot, even though Clayton's still up there with almost a 4-second lead over Patrick Gitter. And a 5-second lead over the 3rd place car, DeCiani. I think they still have a shot.
Yep. That's the idea. Is that they all still feel like they have a shot. There could still be that late stage yellow. You never know. Overdriving the car can happen at a track like this. So fingers crossed that we don't have to deal with that, obviously. No one wants to crash their car, but I'm sure every racer right now is just thinking, man, if we can get a yellow, I can make up so many places with these fresh tires, and it's going to be something else.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, we're good to go for a yellow now as Randy's back up in the flag booth. He went down to get him a corn dog and get a little smooch from Thelma Sue, but he's back up there ready to go now. As we are less than 20 laps in this thing before it's over.
Thelma Sue, she said she was going to smooch me after the race.
Whoa, easy now, partner. I don't get into that crazy stuff.
Well, I'm going to have fisticuffs with our flag man, I think, for the virtue of Thelma Sue.
Wow, I I've heard of people climbing a water tower to defend somebody's, but you're going to climb the flag stand to defend Thelma Sue. I love it. You got to get your girl.
I will. Hey, I'm going to take these cans off right now. I'll be back in 10 minutes. We'll see if this race ends.
Roger that.
Speaking of the race ending, we got 17 laps to go.
17 laps to go.
It's flying by.
You know, and the amazing thing here, man, is that we saw a caution field stage 1. We saw no cautions in stage 2, and there have not been any cautions for stage 3. So that's actually looking like a good sign. We were actually able to see all of those pit road strategies play out. You know, now drivers are probably all holding on to that extra set just in case this thing does, for whatever reason, kind of go sideways and that yellow flag were to come back out. Josh Schaffner makes his way around the 24. Kenny Powell, the 54. Randy Mullins starting to lose ground, though. That's not going to bode well for his chances of trying to actually solidify himself a spot in that final 4. But nonetheless, he is still going to have to keep that thing pointing in the right direction and give her all she's got, Joe.
Best he can. Best he can. We got eyes on Schaffner right now. He's winning one of the closest races still, with Powell very, very close behind him. And Mullins right behind him. Looks like Mullins lost a couple positions there during the last couple minutes. He was pushing for the top 10, and now he's going to have to fight his way up there through 2 very, very tough drivers.
And I guarantee you there's a lot of drivers out there right now that are hoping, praying that somehow that this caution could come out. And I do believe this would be, how many cautions have we had for cars here? Was it 3?
I think we've only had 3.
3 for cause. All right. So good. As long as it's under. I mean, I'm happy with that because I was hoping these guys would not disappoint. Like I said, I brag on the guys in the ISCA. We brag constantly about, you know, how clean the races are and how good the race drivers are. So I'm glad that they did not disappoint and they represented well here tonight in front of you, Joe.
Well, you know, I got to say that I'm happy I was wrong. I'm absolutely happy. Looks like things are pretty clean. Even if we got one now, I would still say that we'd still be under. So it looks like my estimate was high, which is good. This has been very, very impressive. 167 laps isn't easy to pull off on a racetrack that is a little bit abrasive with other drivers on the field, another 30 drivers on the field. But these guys have done it. And I've only called the ISCA a couple of times, but every time I have, I've been impressed, man. It's been so fun to call these races. It doesn't feel like 167 laps when you got racing this good. 3 wide right now.
That's right, 3 wide. Derek Heitman at 26 of Mr. Carr. And also the 6 of Brandon Pasalacqua. Remember what I said? Brandon Pasalacqua has to get this thing where it needs to go. Now he's back up in the 4th place, but he's running out of time. Coming up with 12 to go here at the line. It's definitely go time. That's what I would say. Usually we say it would be about 10 laps to go, but these guys, with the deficit that they got, it's time to go now. Brandon Pasalacqua still battling the 76 of Derek Heitman. Probably wishing that Heitman would just kind of go away and let him be, but it's not going to happen. Brandon's just going to have to fight it out tonight down there in the trenches as the 76 is going to manage to maintain and hold the position.
Yep, he's looking to give him a little push now, maybe, just a little bit. Pasalacqua on the outside. He's been riding that high line here, whereas Heitman's been switching between the low line and the high line based on the turns and where he's sitting. So it looks like defensive driving, but I think it's just 2 different lines meeting. And every time that Pasalacqua has been given the squeeze, he's barely moved. So I'm hoping the high line works for him in the long run. But every time we go through one of these turns, it looks like he's just losing position a little bit steadily.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen, too, because, you know, we were now over 30 laps on the tires. This is the part where the tires go bye-bye. But, 10 laps to go, the 3 car down on pit road again. I'm not sure if that's a scheduled stop or not. But as the tires start to go away, it's going to get more and more critical as we watch our leader attempt to put the 44 car. That's going to be Randy Drumhiller. Drumhiller's going to go a lap down. And that means we're going to have just 14 cars remaining on the lead lap with 10 laps to go here tonight.
Very good. It's been a good race. We've only lost a handful of cars during the course of the race. It looks like with about 26 cars left in the field, we're going to have a nice full field for the finish in 8 laps here.
Yep, this 8 laps. This is a dash for the cash, man. It's time to go. Whatever you've been holding, you need to let it go. You can't hold back on anything right now. I mean, because every position matters, especially if you're one of those guys that's still in the hunt. You don't want to get pointed out, especially if you can't win your way in. Clayton Hoffman Clayton's definitely trying to ensure that he doesn't have that problem to worry about, but I'm looking behind him, and it's just not a good tale. A lot of drivers came here tonight. I think they had better aspirations, better hopes. I think a lot of drivers thought they would have had a better shot at least being competitive on this thing here tonight, but the story has just been the total domination of the 92 car of Clayton Hoffman.
Yeah, he said it himself. He had a rough time in the first stage because everybody had a rough time in the first stage. But as soon as stage 2 started, he had made a few adjustments, and those adjustments paid off. And now he is sailing away with what looks like it's going to be a victory. I gotta say, I'm impressed.
Yeah, indeed he is, and it probably couldn't have come at a better time, because I know it's been a minute since Clayton has been in the winner's circle. I mean, I've won since he has, so I'll just say that. But never mind. I can't say that, because I'm sure Clayton has a couple wins under his belt here this week, at least in the A Opens. It's been definitely a rough week. A lot of guys been out there battling. And I haven't heard of anyone that's just having a good time. Have not come across anybody that's having a good time. As we're going to be 5 laps to go in this thing here once they come across the stripe.
With 5 to go, there is a little bit of a battle going between Banks and Schaffner right now. Banks on the outside, Schaffner down on the inside. Banks just looking to make the pass. He can't quite do it, though. Schaffner getting back onto that middle groove, taking it to the wall, making it clear that he's got that spot. Banks behind him, though. There is still a chance for Banks to make that pass. The yellow's out.
Caution is out. And that is going to be Kenny Powell putting the bumper to the 54 car. Randy Mullins, not a good feeling for Mullins. As remember, he is a playoff driver. And with 5 laps to go, this is going to be the shootout. And remember, we only get one shot at it here in the ISCA. There's one green-white checker. Kenny Powell way high. Looks like Mullins comes up, and those two just kind of met there in the middle. The 54 car was not clear, so really nothing you can do about that one. Pit road's probably going to be really, really busy. Randy Mullins' night comes almost to an end as he receives that dreaded meatball flag.
Yep.
That's definitely going to be fun. That's going to be fun to unpack here tonight, Joe.
Yeah. Oh, no. And that would be our 4th, unfortunately, right before the end of the race here. So that would be... I had a feeling that toward the end of the race, when there was going to be those few last bursts of inspiration, few last bursts of enthusiasm for passing, that's when you're going to get at least one more yellow.
Always. It's always going to happen. And I'm guarantee you pit road is going to be really busy. You got to come down. I don't think you have the choice to stay out. Just too many laps to go. What are we thinking? Leaders down pit road.
There's Hoffman.
A slurry of cars following. All of the lead lap cars are coming down. The only cars that I'm seeing stay out right now are going to be the cars that at least a lap down. And these guys will be trying to get a wave around to get at least one of their laps back. One of those cars in there is the 44 Randy Drumhiller. He was one of the last cars that was actually lapped by the leader.
Yep.
Doesn't seem
there
to be
goes Hoffman up on the jacks.
Yeah, this is the big one. Race off of pit road. This is going to determine a lot of stuff here because, Clayton just watched an almost 5-second lead over P3 disappear. He had over 5 seconds. He had 7 seconds on the third place car, and he just watched that disappear. So, his chances are just gradually diminished. That's what is happening right now to him because, he's got to do something. And what is it going to be? He's going to have to go out there. He's going to have to defend this thing, right?
Yep. I don't think you get bonus points. And do you get bonus points in the ISCA for most laps led?
No, sir.
Then
We don't do
You
bonus
say?
points.
Exactly. Then there's nothing for Clayton to gain here from the situation. Everything to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. You only get what you get here, and that's it. There's no extra. There's no over.
Okay. Well, then he needs to carry on with what he's been doing, get a good launch, and make this his moment.
Lights are still off, on the pace car. That means we're not yet 2 to go.
You can go around one more time.
That means it's going to be. You want to check it?
Yeah, I think we're going to end up with that GWC.
Looks like we're going to go into overtime.
Oh, big OT.
And that's it. That's going to do it. We only get one shot at it. So that means that once that green flag flies, the next flag will end the race no matter what color it is. So how do you feel about that, Joe?
Oof, it's got me on pins and needles. I've never been more excited. I'll do my Marlon Brando impression to tell you how excited I am. Today, the day of my daughter's wedding, I am here at Miami Homestead and I am watching this race. And I'm very excited that the race will end, no matter what, because I'm getting very sleepy and I had too much lasagna at the reception. There you go. How's that?
Hey, Bally, it's just too much sauce. Yeah, that's great,
I like
man.
it. I like the sauce. It's good. I need more of it.
Very good. I don't. Ryan, you've been replaced by Marlon Brando, Casey Kasem, and Joe. Yeah, we got a bonus plan here. I mean, definitely we got more than we bargained for. We got 4 dudes for the price of 1. Lights off on the pace car. Yeah, lights off on the pace car. Time to double it up. That means we're going to be getting ready to take this thing green for probably the last time here tonight. And I'm going to tell you, boy, has it been a struggle. This thing looks like it's going to end like it started.
Yeah, a sprint. An outright sprint. Tell me, do you think scrubbing tires at this point is going to really help these boys at the front a whole bunch?
Well, I'm going to say that you could divide these dudes' I rating by 2, and it still would double mine. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with what they're doing, okay?
Yeah, if they're scrubbing tires, I'm scrubbing tires.
If Clayton's scrubbing, I'm scrubbing. If Gitter's I'm scrubbing. Lights out, pace car down. Off and away. Clayton Hoffman wasting no time getting it gone. He's going to try to put that lead out. 2 laps to go. Big thing here is what's going to happen in turn 1. Hopefully we won't stack it up. Brian Johnson trying to make his move. Makes contact with the 26 of Greg Carr. Matt DeCiani finds himself tucked in, trying to get around the 21 of Patrick Gitter, tucked in by the 76 of Mr. Heitman, the 4. Here comes
There was a wreck to the inside that took out about 3 or 4 cars.
Right, we're still 2 to
green.
go. White flag is out. This is a race to the white flag. Clayton Hoffman doing what Clayton does the best. Now he has his lead just 0.4 of a second over Patrick Gitter. There's not going to be another. There's not going to be another playoff driver back until you get to Matt DeCiani in 4th with Brian Johnson in 5th. Clayton just 2 turns away from putting it in the books.
What a drive out of him today.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. Clayton Hoffman, your winner here tonight at the Hooters 250 in ISCA. Way to go, Clayton. That's also going to solidify himself a championship. What a run. What do you think, Joe? Final thoughts as we get ready to watch old Clayton come out here and perform his burnout. And also I want to say we like to rate the burnouts here, so feel free to give him a generous rating here out of 100 based on his performance.
I love it. I will absolutely do that. My impressions are the guys at the top 3 stayed in the top 3 and proved why they are the top 3. That was a very impressive race. Early on, I was a little skeptical. I even gave it the 5. We got 4. But as the race went on, Clayton Hoffman proved that even if he doesn't think that Homestead is his favorite track, it's clearly one of his best. He had a great car. Whatever adjustments he made tonight paid off, and he just wrote a perfect figure eight. Nope, he's going for 3. Maybe he's going to do the Audi logo. Almost. Okay, I'm going to give that a solid 75, 80 out of 100. If he had done all 4 of the Audi rings, I would have given him a perfect score.
Yeah, what do you know? I'm going to go ahead and give him the 100 that he deserves. Clayton Hoffman. He's out winning here tonight as he burns it up. When I run through the order, Clayton Hoffman, your winner. Patrick Gitter comes home in P2 with Matt DeCiani in 3rd. Dave Heitman comes home in 4th with Brian Johnson in 5th. 6th place shows Brandon Pasalacqua. 7th place, Paul Hill. Abner Acosta rolls across in 8th. Dylan Banks in 9th. Josh Sutter, the Iceman, in 10th. 11th place is going to show Kenny Powell with Jay Hone in 12th. 13th is Tim Workman Jr. 14th, Mark Sanchez. Christopher 15th, Greg Carr rounds out the top 16.
Moving on, Jose Medina in 17th, Randy Drumhiller in 18th, Randy Mullins in 19th, 20th, John Binder. Moving on, 21st, Alexander Carr, 22nd, Connor Banks, 23rd, Paul Whitley, 24th, Jeffrey Souza, 25th, Nick King, 26th, Greg Wachinski, 27th, Dave Fuke Jr., 28th, Blair Holloman, 29th, Jordan Sellers, 30th, Chad Sanner. And last two, but not least two, 31st, Kendall LeBron, and 32nd, Jason S. Taylor.
All right, with the running order set, we're going to take a brief step away, pay some bills, and we'll be right back with our post-race show.
You gotta get down to Hooters, have a drink, catch the game, get yourself some awesome wings. It's the place to do your thing. You gotta get down to Hooters. Here she comes, a girl next door, hanging with good friends and more. Come on, what you waiting for? You gotta get down to Hooters. So get on up and get on down to Hooters.
And we are back with our post-race coverage of the Hooters 250 here at Homestead Miami Speedway. And I am going to be joined in the booth by none other than our third place finish, Matt DeCiani. Matt DeCiani, Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you, Big Al.
Hey, congratulations, man, for bringing it home in P3. I know it's probably not where you wanted to be, but definitely a solid performance for you guys out there tonight.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I mean, came up a little short. Clayton was just really, really strong all race. I mean, we were good in the sunlight, and we kind of just got way too tight when the sun went down. The track cooled off, and I honestly think that was the difference. I thought we were pretty close, me, Pat, and Clayton, early in the race, and just we kind of just didn't really plan for it to cool off that much. But That's on us, and yeah, congrats to Clayton.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, how much time did you guys spend out here this week trying to get this thing rolling to get yourself a fast enough setup? And what do you think you guys came up short?
Yeah, I mean, we spent a lot of time. We felt pretty confident going in. Like I said, I think it was just not we expected hotter track temps, and with the 2x speed this league runs, it just cooled off a lot more than we were expecting. We expected it to cool off a little bit, and we didn't go far enough with some adjustments, I think, pre-race to be set up for that last third of the race, last half of the race, and that's really where we got our butts kicked in. Pretty simple on that.
Yeah, so track conditions other than the temp, did the car do what you expected it to do?
Yeah, for the most part, early race. So then I just got too tight entry both ends as it cooled off. But yeah, overall felt pretty decent.
Well, man, as we kind of wrap this up, we're getting closer and closer to the end of this thing as we look for our final four. Another race off Martinsville. I mean, what are you thinking? How are your chances of winning that thing?
Kind of just depends if you can qualify well. I think you got a good shot. I feel like I'm pretty solid at Martinsville. I had a chance to win it last year and kind of choked on a late race restart, but I've run pretty good there in the past, so I think I'll be pretty solid next week.
Well, definitely, we'll be tuning in, hoping that you can actually get that thing in the winner's circle and solidify yourself a slot, man. But until then, who you shouting out tonight for your third place finish?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for calling the race. Kenny for putting on the league. Shout out to Pat and Clayton. Shout out to all my teammates that put work on the setup this week. Was pretty solid. But yeah, thanks guys. Have a good night.
Hey, thank you. That was Patrick. That was. And I got so much on my mind. That was Matt DeCiani, our third place finisher. Standing by with our second place finisher, we have Joe. And Joe's going to be talking to Patrick Gitter.
That's right. Patrick, how you doing tonight?
Hey, doing well, Joe. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. I just watched a pretty amazing race. You took away stage one. Stage one was an embattled situation. We had 3 flags during stage one. Tell me, what was going through your head as you were holding on to the lead there?
Yeah, that was kind of a strategy call. We were when the first one came out, we started thinking, all right, what's tire strat if we get another caution here late run, and knowing the race length, you had 5 sets of tires. We were like, man, we just need to keep our tires here just to make sure that we have enough sets at the end, if we get some late cautions. So we talked a little bit about it, but just decided we were going to stay out regardless, just to play it safe for the end.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? It paid off for you. Stage one came away with the victory. Stage two saw Clayton pulling away from you and you having to hold on, and there was a lot more battling going on for the second place position. What do you think might have been holding you back a little bit from closing the gap, though, to first place?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun with Clayton there in stage two, especially the early run. We both fired off pretty hard and we're racing one another pretty aggressively, and I think that part in the race was where it was pretty clear, like, all right, this is where our car is transitioning into the cooler temps, and it's not going in a good direction. It's just, Matt mentioned it. We just got to a point where we felt pretty confident with our car early run, and then the temperature drop off was drastic enough to where we started building tighter, and we would try to adjust for it in the pits, but by the end of the race, we just got to a point where really needed some garage tweaks that obviously we weren't able to access in the pits. So it's just something to learn from, look back, and move forward with maybe what we can learn from.
Exactly. Maybe take a little bit. I know there's not too much maybe from here you can take to a track like Martinsville next week, but are you looking forward to next week?
Yeah, Martinsville's always exciting track. I'll put it at that. I mean, short track racing.
That's one way to put it, right?
Yeah, I mean, tight quarters, tight racing. So it'll be interesting, and I think it'll be excitement too. With guys battling in to try to get a playoff spot. there's always some surprises at Martinsville, so we're looking forward to it.
Always. Hey, well, congratulations again on your silver medal. How about anybody you want to shout out to tonight?
Yeah, thanks for you guys up in the booth for helping to call the race, Kenny for putting on the league. Shout out to my teammates, Matt, Derek, Paul. They all ran a great race there up front for a lot of the race. Shout out to Clayton on the win. I mean, he had the dominant car. Honestly, I felt, I don't know how I felt about the late caution, because I was like, man, if something happens and Clayton doesn't get this win, he's going to get robbed, because he clearly deserved that. So shout out to him. Shout out to TCSP for helping organize the set this week, and Seminary Designs for the paint scheme tonight.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much. It was great talking to you, Patrick. Well, good luck next week. I'm going to pass it back to you, Al.
That was Patrick Gitter, our second place finish. Congrats to him. And now, last but not least, the winner of tonight's show. It's the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Clayton Hoffman. Clayton Hoffman, congratulations for bringing that thing home tonight. I bet you feel good now that the monkey is off your back.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I thought I'd, stand a good chance to win one of these 2.5 mile races going into the last 2 races of the season, and I was able to pull it out. So I can't say I really thought going into the race I was going to be as good as I was. I knew I'd be, neck and neck, but I guess I just had a little bit more there with something I did. So yeah, it was nice to finish it off after we had that caution with like 5 to go.
Yeah, definitely. You were one of the fastest cars out there tonight. But I guess the question I got is how much of an effect do you think the clean air had on your rather dominant performance here this evening?
I mean, it probably had a bit of an effect. But I'd say, honestly, just with kind of how the race worked out, the only person that really got negatively affected that was near me was pretty much Pat when we were pushing, and I was trying to not let him get a run on me to, try to pass me, because I knew if I'm going to get stuck behind him in dirty air and battle him, I'm going to burn on my tires, I'm going to not make lap time, and that wasn't something that I wanted to do. So, pushed off my tires, he pushed his tires and got, everywhere but right up to me. So, yeah, he was probably the only one that really had a negative effect from the dirty air. So, yeah, it definitely hurt him pretty good in the long run. It looked like he was able to kind of recover sort of towards the very end on the last stage before he pit, but by that point, I was just so far out ahead. The clean air just, helped me a lot.
Well, 2 things we're going to talk about. Number one is that pit entry. That was definitely, as the younger folks will say, super sketch. What happened with that?
I don't know if you've watched these races there, Big Al, but I've kind of struggled with getting on pit road in the last couple of races. So, I got the speeding at, what was it, Michigan? Or, no, it wasn't Michigan, it was Kansas, I think, or something, I don't know. But yeah, my pit road entries have not been great when it comes to doing in the race, and I didn't make a single practice attempt. So that didn't help me either. So, I was thinking, oh man, I'm about to Kyle Larson these barrels if this car doesn't turn. And I got lucky and it turned, and I was crashing, but I was able to slow down and not speed. So, we gave some time back, but I think because of how late I, hit the brakes there, it worked out all right.
Yeah, it definitely looked a little scary from our perspective. And I was like, man, I hope Clayton doesn't lose this on that pit strategy right there, because that was a pretty, that was an ugly stop. But you got it done, and you're actually able to hold off. So how many lights lit up in the car, as well as your emotions when that late race caution came out?
I just got flashbacks of the Michigan race. I think it was in 22. I think it was the first year the next gen had a OP car. No one could keep up, and then we got a late race caution, and half the field stayed out on 30 lap old tires, and I restarted like 12th or 14th and got ran over on the restart and finished last place on the lead lap. So
well, hey.
Definitely thought about it, but I was just fortunate that I had a bunch of cars between me and all the other lead lap cars, and we didn't have I don't know if we had anybody take 2 tires, so it just worked out for me, honestly.
Well, definitely, man. Congratulations to you for bringing it home here tonight. I know it feels good to be in now with a win. Who are you shouting out tonight for your first place victory?
Just glad to be here at the league. I know we had more cautions than normal in that first stage, but it was nice to finish it out the normal way there, where we're battling and doing what we got to do on the track there, I guess. And thanks to Kenny for still putting on the league. Thanks to you guys in the booth. Thanks to all the guys I race with week in and week out. I'd say I don't think I've been involved in any sort of incident with anybody ever, so it's nice to have a league where it can race clean, and normally everybody else races clean with each other too, but sometimes you got to fight for that track position.
Roger that. Well said. As I always say, don't party too hard, man, and congratulations again for your victory here tonight.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for us here tonight. Joe, what are your thoughts on this wild and crazy show that you got to be a part of?
Well, I was impressed, and honestly, I said it earlier, I think it flew by. It didn't feel like 167 laps. It felt like 67 laps. It felt like, I don't even know what to say. It was very quick, but it was very professional, and even though we had a long stretch of green, these guys kept it exciting the whole way. So I'm looking forward to watching next week Martinsville's race, and thanks for having me out tonight.
Man, thank you for coming in. We appreciate you taking time. As well as the folks at home, thank you for tuning in, as we definitely couldn't do it without you guys. We hope that we put on a great show for you. Thanks to all of the drivers. Thanks to my main man, Kobe Jordan, down beneath. Thanks to Kenny Powell for putting on the league. I'm your host, Big Al, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
I found the ISCA after I'd been in the service for a long time. I'd been in iRacing for well over a decade and spent most of my time in NASCAR series, a lot of fixed racing for the most part, and really just got to a point in my iRacing career where I really wanted to get involved in open setup racing versus fixed, partially because I was just looking for a little higher level of competition, maybe a little cleaner driving, and maybe get away from some of the challenges that go along with fixed racing on the service. And it took me a while as I was really searching out leagues, because I kind of had a very specific thing I was looking for. A, I wanted to be an established league. B, I just really wanted clean, quality drivers to be racing around. And once I found the ISCA, I found out really quick that it was going to check all those boxes, and I've been with the ISCA ever